Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. It's our college football game of the week. It's down in the SEC. It's the University of Alabama taking on the Ole Miss Rebels. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and join me today to break down this great game in the SEC this weekend. The gentleman is from Atlanta, Georgia, played at Redan High School. I consider him the number one coach in all the state of Georgia. He's had a great coaching career, and he knows all about defense. And his favorite school is the University of Alabama, if you can tell, with his hat and also with his pullover. My man, Kevin the Bull Jones. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it as we break down Ole Miss and Alabama. So for further ado, the master, the gentleman, University of Alabama, Mr. Kevin Jones. Tell us what's going to happen on Saturday afternoon in Oxford, Mississippi.
Let me go ahead and start with Roll Tide Roll. Oh my goodness, it's going to be a gala spectacle. And let me get my big brother here. My big brother's on my shoulder here. He's got my back, leaning over to make sure that I stay in place because I get so excited talking about that Crimson Tide. Here we got it. Nick Saban, the master, against his pupil. He is currently Coach Kiffin, Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. Coach Saban is 20-0 against his former assistants. Whatever level they're on, when they're head coach and they line up across the field from, he's 20-0. Now, here's the thing about it. Right now, Crimson Tide family is down to serious business. It's time to go ahead right now, undefeated, and it's going to stay that way. But we're facing a fantastic offensive mind in Lane Kiffin. They're averaging 38 points a game, and they're doing a great job. Elijah Moore, Lane Kiffin has said is one of the best slot receivers he has ever coached. Now, keep in mind, Lane Kiffin was in Tuscaloosa with us, so now all of a sudden he's talking about some of those great people that he helped recruit that are in this right here, the NFL. That's why I got this on, because down in Tuscaloosa, that's where we go after we leave. We get our degree, and then we go right here to the NFL. Okay, it feels like an S on my chest today, Vincent, because we talking Bama football. But let me get back to my point. Here it is. He's mentioned that is one of the best. He is the best. And let's not take anything away from Elijah Moore. He's done a great job. And at the end of the day, Ole Miss is facing tough competition. They faced Florida, but Florida had scored 51 points on it. And then they turned around. They faced Kentucky, who Kentucky missed a point after attempt, and that's how Ole Miss ended up winning on a touchdown. Matt Corral is a very good football player. He's very good. Can't take anything away from him. He's come in and electrified the place. 530 yards total offense by Ole Miss. I tell you what, Bama family got our hands full, but you know how we're going to do it. We are the most balanced team in college football today. And we got Dylan Moses back. We got Christian Harris. They're leading the team in tackles, along with the Jonathan Battles kid, the star position. That's that third safety. We'll talk about that some other time. And then, of course, my favorite, the Terminator from Dutchtown High School, Will Anderson, coming off the edge, a true freshman. Folks, understand this. I don't want to brag about Mac Jones yet because I want to talk about the defense, and I'm going to leave it right there. We have a fascinating defense. We have a punishing defense. We got to get better in the secondary. And that's where we were hurt last week with all those passes thrown against a very good Kelly Mond quarterback and Texas A&M team. So we got to tighten up as far as in that situation when it comes to coverage. Got to tighten up those edges. But as far as Justin Uwegbe from Forest Park High School on the D-line and the Ray kid coming back who was injured last year, we got some bona fide players. We're back. We're back. Somebody's going to get their feelings hurt this Saturday afternoon. Don't miss it. Be there.
Okay. Assumingly, I know you're aligned to the University of Alabama here on 100 Yards of Football. You are correct. Alabama's the best balanced football team in the country. But I'm going to start with Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, you've been telling me all the time he's one of the best offensive minds of all of college football. The thing I think about when Lane Kiffin coming back to Oxford, the energy, the excitement he's brought to that campus, it takes me all the way back to the 60s, man. Basically, when that young man from Drew, Mississippi, I know you know his name, was playing quarterback for Ole Miss, had two sons that had very successful NFL careers. Archie Manning was there. Hey, that's the feeling on the Ole Miss campus. But most of all, what I came very impressed with Mr. Lane Kiffin is how he came in. He's taken the team. He know he can't really build on the defensive ball side of the ball yet, but I wasn't expecting them to be this good offensively. And then they had the quarterback controversy in the offseason, who should be starting Miles, but the kid Prumley from Mississippi, or either Matt Corral, the kid I'm thinking he's from California. But he made the decision to go to Corral, and Corral has been special his first two games, man. And most of all, you brought up Elijah Moore. Now, when I'm looking at Ole Miss, they're probably going to match Alabama a little bit early on offense, but the matchup I'm looking at, since you're talking about Roll Tide, I want to see how good Patrick Surtain is on Saturday. He's going against a very legitimate receiving Elijah Moore. I want to see how good he is, and I want to see the improvement with Alabama's secondary. Since you're talking about that great defense, I want to see is Patrick Surtain and how they replace Trayvon Diggs. Because this is going to be a very good quarterback that's throwing the ball all over the field, if you know what I mean. But you're totally correct, Coach Jones. I like the young man. You coached him. You know his family personally. Will Anderson out of Dutchtown has been very impressive. And go to the University of Alabama and start as a true freshman. And then be compared to that young man out of the 305 who went to Miami Senior High, who had an outstanding career with the Kansas City Chiefs, Derek Thomas. That's been very, very impressive. And to start as a true freshman. We ain't talking about redshirt freshman. We ain't talking about early enrollee. We talking about a guy that got there through the pandemic. And man, you on a team that's been the upper echelon of college football, that's impressive. But like you said, Dylan Moses has came back, and Alabama's defense seems a little better. But however, we're going to see this challenge against Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral, and Elijah Moore down in Oxford on Saturday. So the question I have to you, we know Alabama's going to score points. But the main question, two questions I got today. Man, I didn't think Mac Jones was going to be as good as he has this early in the season. It takes me back like the next man up at the University of Alabama at the quarterback position. Jalen Hurts, Tua. Then I'm going to even go back in the 60s when Pat Trammell won that first national championship under Bear Bryant. The next man came from Beaver, Pennsylvania by the name, you know what I'm saying, had Water Colts, was a star in the 60s, Joe Willie Namath. Then after him, the young man that just passed down there in Foley, Alabama, that had a great career with the Oakland Raiders, Ken Stabler. Man, I'm putting Mac Jones in all those categories because all I remember from last year with Mac Jones was throwing them 2 pick sixes against Auburn. But man, coming out against Missouri, hitting his first 10 passes and 11 passes dropped. And then I wanted to see really him going against Kellen Mond last weekend. Kellen Mond's a proven quarterback, 5th-year senior at Texas A&M. But Mac Jones, 20 out of 27, 435. And I'm not even talking about their receiving core. Do I have to mention that, or I let you take on the receiving core because you are the University of Alabama? But I've been very impressed with Mac Jones. Take it over, sir. Explain them 2 points to me.
Okay, here's the fascinating part of what Coach Saban does, and viewers, I want you to understand why I marvel at what he does, because there are a lot of great coaches in the SEC and in college football. But let me tell you what this man has done. He has taken the concept offensively with Steve Sarkisian, and last year with Tua, they were an RPO team and a rollout team. Okay, instead of doing that this year with Mac Jones, they have catered to his strengths with his more drop back, intermediate throws, and deep throws. So those are the things that Mac Jones does well. He has connected on over 58% of his throws this year over 25 yards in just 2 games. What does that tell you? That means that he throws the deep ball well. That means that he throws the intermediate ball well. Now, is he warm and fuzzy when it comes to getting out and sprinting out and rolling out? Well, listen, the powers that be. And keep in mind, Coach Saban watches what goes on, and he makes sure that everything is catered to the players that they have. But when you have that beast back there, you know, they say, mama, there go that man. Okay. And that's Najee Harris. Okay. You have him back there. And now, if you notice, they're not going as much with various backs back there anymore. They're letting Najee be able to show his true talents of catching the ball out of the backfield as well as running the football. Okay, they let the Robinson get some runs too, but credit to Coach Huff, the running back coach, and the rest of those coaches on the offensive side of football. Alabama has transformed into a deep ball team. They got Michie, they got Waddle, they got Smith. They are going to make things happen. Nobody's going to stop them, and they are going to roll over people. See, that's why people always wonder. Let me put my big brother back on my shoulders again because he keeps me in place. People wonder, what does roll, tide, roll means? Well, you ask the opponents when they face us, and they know the play that's coming, but they can't stop it. It's just like that rolling water, just that tide, that tidal wave just rolls you over. Those are the things that make Alabama a great football program with consistency. And even Coach Kiffin mentioned it, Vincent. He said this year, Alabama's team is more balanced than any other year that he can remember. And Coach Kevin, hats off to him. He would know something about working under the master, the Zen master, Nick Saban. So I think it's going to be a great game.
It's really I'm kind of trying to understand why you didn't mention nobody in the offensive line like Alex Leatherwood and Landon Dickerson and Devontae Brown. You being a line coach, why you didn't put those guys' names out there? Because they potential first-round picks. But
we'll see.
My other question, you didn't answer the defensive side of the ball question, but I'm gonna let you comment on that right quick. The offensive line.
Well, here's we got. Alan Leatherwood is returning, and here are the pieces that it's like Lego bricks. They keep adding. Those kids are ready to just input after their first year. Okay, Chance Warmack was the last true freshman to start on the offensive line for Alabama. So now you got Leatherwood that comes in, and he's done an outstanding job. He will be a first-round draft pick, but I was really saving that for when that other game comes next week when the whole Georgia's going to blow up, and I was going to leave that alone. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a fascinating game. Alabama's going to control the line of scrimmage. But here's the thing, folks. We got to watch out. Coach Kiffin is going to score points.
You didn't mention, I asked you the question. I'm going to ask you again. However, talk about the matchup, Patrick Surtain against Elijah Moore. Don't get away from it because you know Mr. Moore is on fire. You saw what he did to Florida secondary.
Yeah, but that's not Alabama secondary.
So
well, here's the deal.
Put that in context, the matchup, Patrick Surtain and Elijah Moore.
I'm going to give you what is going to happen. The pressure from Alabama. Alabama, do you realize that they do not have a sack this season out of the interior linemen, and they still getting pressure? That's because it's called pressure. Sometimes pressure is better than sacks. So what I'm really trying to tell you is we're not going to give quarterback Carroll time to throw the football. He's going to have a guy in his face, and he can't look for Elijah Moore because we're going to bracket him. He's going to be non-existent. He's been averaging 160 yards in 2 games in receptions. I promise you, he won't get over 100 yards come this Saturday. He's going to be shut out, okay? And we're going to shut him out by the pressure that we bring, and that 3-4 defense is going to bracket him. One guy short, one guy deep. Game's over. Go somewhere else with the football. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No question about it. I'm going to say this. After watching all the football the last couple of weeks, I'm going to have to agree with you. Alabama's been the most impressive football team I've seen. And even though they've had problems in the secondary, but, man, when they get it going both offensive and defensive, I like their balance. And I like Dylan Moses returning. That was huge for their defense, man. I think in 2 games, he's got 16 tackles, 3 tackles for losses, 1 sack. He is a guy that definitely is going to play on the next level. And I'm putting him in the mindsets of, I'm putting him in the same talent. Mike Singletary, Leroy Jordan, all the great linebackers, Ray Lewis. This guy is very special. One of the most special players I've seen on a college level. That being said, Ole Miss, Alabama, final words. What's going to happen on Saturday?
It's going to be Alabama ground and pound, throw the ball deep. And Kiffin is not worried about trying to stop Alabama. He's trying to score more than Alabama. That's where his homework is. And for that to be the case, a lot of things have to happen. understand it's going to be a high-scoring game. Don't be surprised if both teams end up with more than 30 points. Great game, and you already know who wins. Roll, Tide, roll.
Give us a score, my brother.
Oh, we're good.
Give us
Oh,
a
I'm
score.
looking at right now. It's going to be 48-24. 48-24, 48-28. I'll give Kiffin 4 more points. But, you know, he's got to come to the newly renovated Bryant-Denny Stadium. Oh, what a beautiful place. I tell you what, you're going to have to catch it on TV, though. But it's going to be a great game.
That being said, all I can say is thank you, Coach Jones. If you like the video today, please comment and share. But for you, Coach Jones, since you're a tremendous Alabama fan, you know coaches on the coaching staff, it's one thing I don't understand. You sit around, you say roll tide, but you don't know they fight song. So maybe you can learn that next time we cover Alabama on that game preview. It's amazing. You don't know they fight song. You saying wrong tap, but that should be the first thing you know.
Well,
Correct?
at the end of the day, you know, the cream rises to the top. And sometimes when you're so full of beating people every Saturday afternoon, sometimes you just start singing so many other songs. One of them comes to mind, another one bites the dust.
With that being said, thank you for enjoying the video. As I always say, the great poet from Washington, D.C., Motown's finest, the late Marvin Gaye. Excuse me. Let's get it on.